Everyone's saying that they've seen something they must have seen something incredibly special in this young man. What is it?
Well, I think he spoke very well in the interview. A lot of great players make their debut around 20, 21 years old. I've got a few stats of Ponting, Smith, Root, Callis and Williamson. They're all 20 to 21. Bethell's 21 years old. So it's kind of this, they had more of a record behind him, but it is that kind of age where you get going in Test cricket early, and if you're good enough, you learn so much there that you become a great player. I hope it's not too early for him. That's my big concern, because high score of 93, and he doesn't strike rate. He's not big strike rate for red ball cricket. He's only 47, so he's not going to whack it. I just hope he doesn't do any harm for him getting picked this early.
Because the conversation is about, right, we're not going to move anybody else around. He's going to come in at 3. Now, there's clearly a risk there.
Yeah, but most definitely a risk. Those great players that Cookie talked about started their lives very much further down the order, and that's a much softer landing into international cricket, is to do it when the ball's not quite moving around as much. He'll be quietly glad that England haven't lost the toss and they're batting first, and he's got to go and bat on that green bed of snakes there. But yeah, he's someone who just exudes calmness. I interviewed him in the summer, and there was just a real quiet confidence about him. He really stated hard his desire to play Test match cricket, which I think is brilliant for a young guy with an IPL contract, playing white ball cricket and looking really confident. He still has that burning desire to play Test match cricket and really wants to bat up the order. Clearly, he's got a great opportunity to show people that he's capable of doing that. But, yeah, it would have been a much softer landing, I think, further down the order.
Yeah, it's quite funny hearing him talk about doing it when he's a kid, right? And then he's like, sure, I'm going to go and do it at 3. But, I mean, Cookie, should he be in this position? What do you make of the situation generally?
Well, it is interesting, a couple of those senior players not moving up. You know, it is, as Finney said, he should be batting at 6, really. Like, ultimately, you want to start there and then move up. And it's a strange one, because Ollie Pope, the criticism of the summer, you know, he's had in the winter in Pakistan, where he hasn't scored the runs he should have been. He is kind of like the horse being backed at number 3, and suddenly he's the one which is making way to keep and batting at 6. So it is unsettled. The reason why Ben Stokes, he's said he's batting at 3, was we want to keep everything else settled, but it's actually, in my eyes, complicated a little bit. And I hope for England's sake it does work out fine, and clearly that they win the game. But they shouldn't be in this situation. You know, they shouldn't have taken 3 spinners. They've taken 3 spinners on the tour. Not once are they going to even consider playing 2 spinners on this New Zealand tour. To have a spare one and not a spare wicketkeeper is why we're ending up here with Bethell batting at 3, because just say Ollie Robinson, or who's now turning up on the second Test match, was there as a reserve keeper. He'll be batting at 7, Pope at 3. It's an absolute fine. No one's worried about it. If you want to get Bethell in, he has to replace someone else.
So the wicketkeeper situation as well is part of it?
Yes, it definitely would be. Otherwise, you'd say Pope would stay at 3, and Bethell, if he were to play, would bat further down the order. I just wonder whether, you know, Ollie Pope batting at number 3, he averages 40 plus, but to me, he's a player who would far more suit batting at number 5 or 6. So he's going to have his opportunity in this series to bat there. And I actually back him to score runs in this series, batting in that position. I think a more longer-term view for England to do, and I strongly believe that Joe Root should bat at 3, Brook at 4, Pope at 5, Stokes at 6 and the keeper at 7, is the way that I think that they should set up looking into the future towards India next summer and the Ashes. But clearly McCullum and Stokes don't want to do that, so that's why we find ourselves in the quandary.
Root, you want Root to bat at 3?
Yes.
He's always, to be fair, he's always called for it.
Yeah, we talked about this before, of course.
What reasons?
Yeah, no, but I'm not doubting
Everything is brilliant, of course.
But we've got a side here where we've got a guy who's an England side. We've got a guy who's never batted at 3 in his professional cricket, batting 3. And if you asked so many people who's the best number 3 in England, he doesn't even do it for his county. And we've got someone keeping for the Test time who wouldn't. He's actually 4th choice at Surrey. So to be first choice at England, that doesn't make any sense to me. When you just purely take the emotion out of it and you read it statistically, that isn't, I don't think, great selection. Now it might work out here. The question I would have here: if England win this game of cricket, do you stick with the same side, even though you've got a stronger wicketkeeper on the reserve, wicketkeeper batsman in Ollie Robinson, who's available, and then who misses out? So it could get very complicated, and you don't want it to get complicated.
Do you?
Oh, well, I think it makes a lot more talking points if it gets complicated, but for England's sake, no, less complication is good, especially with such a big year ahead.
OK, so New Zealand will bat first at the Hagley Oval in